Good day, guys. So this is a recorded lecture on the topic arousal, stress, and anxiety in sports. Okay, so um, you have to look onto the PowerPoint I have sent in your GC while perhaps probably watching on this lecture. So more or less you could relate to what I am discussing. Although projected also on the screen is the PowerPoint. I mean, the same PowerPoint. Okay, so we look into these concepts of arousal, stress, and anxiety. And part of what we will be uh, discussing in this particular topic is not only the concept, no, but the different theories as well, uh, which tried to expound on these particular uh, psychological constructs, no, arousal, stress, and anxiety. And uh, we also try to look into the implications of these in sport performance. Okay. Uh, Perhaps we will also try to look into how we could be of help to our um, coaches or athletes. Should we become coaches or um, should we become coaches in the future? Okay, so the first thing that we will be um, underscoring would be what is arousal, stress, and anxiety, and how interrelated they are. Okay, so um, arousal, if we look into the very word itself, no, we could extract the verb arouse, and if you are to arouse, no, there is this definition of to stir up or to excite. No? So, one who is aroused is definitely very conscious of what's happening around him or her. No? He or she is stirred up or very much in the state of being awake. No? So, it says here that it's the state of general preparedness of the body for action. Okay, so that if you are aroused, you are very much not only conscious or awake or aware of what's happening, but you also has the zeal, the energy to respond to whatever stimulation there is in your environment. Okay, so arousal involves physiological and psychological factors. And so we will look into these uh, as we proceed in discussing the content of the slides. Okay? So it also refers to general physiological and psychological activation varying in intensity along a continuum. Because when we say arousal, um, it ranges from how aroused are we, no, in a continuum. So that if I would if we would reflect, no, onto our levels of arousal in a day, no, or within the day, anong oras sa loob ng isang araw kayo mas aroused. So kumbaga hindi lahat, no, 24/7, hindi sa buong 24 oras na tayo ay aroused, kasi meron at merong oras na kung saan tayo ay low in terms of arousal level, no? So it varies in intensity, no? It depends upon the time of the day and even the activity or the stimulation that we have. Okay? So in your classes, for example, since it's daytime, you are expected to be very much awake and aroused. No, but is it? No, I mean, do you find all your courses interesting and motivating, that you are much awake when there are discourses. I mean, there are discussions or lectures. No? So, probably when you are given tasks that require a certain degree of what? Of siguro kung physical activity man yan in your physical education classes, no? Kailangan ay you have the energy and that you are at a certain level aroused, no? But what I'm trying to say herein is that there is a varying intensity of our arousal, no? So there would be varying or differing arousal levels depending on our state, or even depending on our motivations. Okay? Anxiety on the other hand, no, anxious, when one is anxious, there is uneasiness, no, there is a sort of troubled mind, no? So there are feelings of fear and apprehension. Anxiety is a negative emotional state with feelings of worry, nervousness, and apprehension associated with activation of the body. So when one is highly aroused, like say for example, when you are being confronted with important activities, no, like when you are in a competition, no, so at the middle of a volleyball match, for example, uh, um, uh, are you triggered in a way that you also uh, fe- have fears or have apprehensions, or you are nervous when you are in a competition, no? So be it in sports, no, or even in social cultural activities, when you are to compete, no, um, does it trigger you to feel this way? I mean, to feel anxious, no? So, um, what do you observe in your bodies when you are anxious? No? So, meron yung mga iba't ibang signs and symptoms of one who is anxious, and this could be either physiological or psychological. No, katulad din ng kapag ikaw ay aroused, meron kang makikitang mga pagbabago sa iyong physiological state, no, at ganun din sa iyong emotional or psychological state. Okay? Stress on the other hand, no, when you are confronted with overwhelming situation, no, where your energy is more likely drained, or you are not what do you call that, uh, you don't have much energy or resource to respond on that situation, because again, there is an overwhelming demand, no, of such situation. So tendencies are you get stressed, no? So it's a response of the body to the demands made upon it. Okay, so there can also be different impact on our um, physiological state when we are stressed. No? So it's a pattern of negative physiological states and psychological responses. You might have observed that irrespective of whether it's arousal, anxiety, and stress, one thing common among them is the very fact that it has impact to our physiological and psychological state. Okay? So there is a threat, no, to one who is stressed, particularly in terms of his or her well-being, no? But this always depends on to how the person view the situation, no? So that if the situation appears to him or her as very overwhelming or highly demanding, then it can be something that is considered as a threat. And if ever or um, uh, exacerbated or aggravated by the feeling of the person that he is unable to meet the demand, because again of its being overwhelming in nature, then the person is said to be stressed. Okay. Now, for the succeeding slides, we will discuss each concept separately. Okay. So, arousal, as we mentioned a while ago, is the state of general preparedness of the body for action. Okay. Involving physiological and psychological factors. No? So that in a volleyball match, for example, kapag ikaw ay recipient nung siniserve na bola, no? How you respond, no, kapag nasa on air yung bola at sa'yo tatama, no? There is a need for you to be aroused so that you could respond accordingly to the stimulation. So pag tumama sa yung ang bola, kapag overly aroused ka, ang tendency ay masyado kang na-excite, masyadong napalakas yung pag ano bang tawag diyan? Pag-accept mo dun sa bola at yung pag spike mo or ano ba, yung pagbalik mo dun sa bola dun sa kabilang side ng court. So, ang tendency ay dahil napalakas, dahil na-overexcite ka, no? Or kumbaga, highly aroused ka, no? Ang tendency ay pwedeng maging outside yung bola, no? Hindi siya magiging makakount na puntos nyo kung sakali man dahil nga napalakas yung pagbalik mo dun sa bola. Pero kung meron lang tamang level ng gigil, no? Parang ganun yun eh, no? Gigil ka pero kumbaga yung level ng arousal mo ay controlled or meron lang titingnan natin mamaya yung mga iba't ibang theories, no? Kasi merong impact kapag highly aroused ang tao. Instead na maging maganda ang performance niya dun sa laro ay pwedeng dahil sa sobrang excite na-excite or kumbaga parang na highly aroused siya, no, pwede siyang mag-lead into a disastrous performance, no. So, uh, there are there are physiological symptoms, no, and psychological symptoms as well of one who is aroused. And we will look into this in the succeeding slides. No? But as you could see on screen, the intensity of our arousal falls on a continuum. No? So this is what I was explaining a while ago. No? It ranges from not aroused, not aroused at all. That is when we are uh, sleeping, no? Because when you are asleep, no, your brain may be functioning but your body is at rest, no? And you are not conscious, no? In fact, you are unconscious, no? I mean, if and when there are stimulation around, no, you could not respond readily because you are at sleep, no? So, from that state to a state where you are completely aroused, no, like when you are very much awake and aware of what's happening around you, you are you could readily respond to whatever stimulation, visual man or auditory man o kung ano man ang pinagagawa mo, no? So, you could see in the pictures that one who is at sleep has low arousal or is not aroused at all, and one who is doing a very important activity like, say, for instance, when you are in the midst of a competition, could be highly aroused. Okay? So, within the day, balik tayo dun sa example o sa tanong ko kanina, within the day, what time of the day or what activities do you do within the day that actually provokes you to be very much aroused, no? So, siyempre mas kayo ang nakakaalam niyan. Kapag ba nasa mga klase kayo, aroused kayo, depende siguro sa activity. Kapag lecture lang at nakikinig kayo, maaring hindi kayo masyadong aroused. Depende na lang kung highly motivated pa rin kayong makinig dun sa lecture dahil sa tingin ninyo ay mahalaga ang mga dinidiscuss sa inyo. Oh, pero kapag exam, sigurado ako kahit na napuyat kayo the night before the exam, no? During the exam or on the day of the exam, it is as if that the mind accustoms the body that it has to be highly aroused. Di ba? Okay. So, physiological signs of arousal. So when we talk about physiological signs of arousal, as uh, seen on screen, these are the somatic signs. So what happens in your body? Anong nakikita o naobserbahan ninyo sa inyong mga katawan kapag highly aroused or kapag aroused kayo? So, depending on the activity, because even if you are aroused and you are sitting or in a sedentary activity, no? Aroused kayo, I mean, gising kayo, awake kayo, ready kayong mag-respond pero not that much siguro because again it involves a sedentary activity, no? So hindi increase ang heart rate nyo, di ba? Kapag nakaupo lang kayo at nakikinig sa lecture, hindi naman increase ang heart rate nyo, maliban na lang kapag bigla kayong tinawag for recitation, no? So increased breathing rate, no? Sweating, headache. Okay, ano-anong mga activities sa tingin ninyo ang kung saan ma-observe ninyo ang mga katawan ninyo na nararamdaman ang mga ito, no? So yun ay kapag kayo ay into sports, di ba? When you are competing for a sport activity or when you are competing for a particular competition, socio-cultural siguro, no? Is it not that you are what? Exhibiting even some symptoms of anxiety like you feel you have feelings of nausea, no? Hindi nyo alam kung mahihilo kayo, you wanted to vomit, kung minsan natatai tayo na hindi natin ma-explain, no? So um uh, increased muscle tension, ito yun, biglang sasakit ang tiyan nyo na hindi nyo maintindihan. Ah, ano pa, nauuhaw kayo na hindi nyo alam kung bakit, no? So, naiihi kayo na parang um, ihi kayo ng ihi na hindi nyo maintindihan kung bakit, no? Nanlalamig ang inyong mga kamay, no? At, at headache, sumasakit ang inyong mga ulo. No, na-experience nyo na ba yung mga yan? Okay? So these are the physiological signs. We also have some psychological or cognitive signs of arousal. No? So what are included herein are the following. There is an increased focus and concentration. So depending on the nature of the activity or the situation you are into, no? If the situation demands for a high focus or attention, ganun naman, hindi ba? Kapag napaka-importante nung sitwasyon o ng activity, the tendency is we accord our attention or our focus unto that activity, no? There is heightened awareness. O kapag halimbawa nasa middle ka ng isang basketball match, no? Hindi ba? Yung mga audience, kahit pa sabihin natin na importante, motivating yung audience, no? Still you focus yourself onto what's happening inside the court. So, kung nakanino ang bola, no? Kung nasa teammate mo ba o nasa opposing team, anong gagawin mo kapag nasa teammate mo, no? So all the more that you are very attentive because tendencies are your teammate would pass the ball to you. No? So, there is a narrowing of attention. So, ang attention mo malamang ay nakafocus ka lang doon sa kung sino ang may hawak ng bola, kung ano ang nangyayari inside the court. No? And you exclude irrelevant stimuli. No? While the audience may have impact to your performance, you would what? Rather not mind the audience, but instead, you are focusing your attention onto the players inside the court. There is decreased reaction time. So if a player becomes too aroused, however, they can exhibit signs of anxiety. So dito papasok yung overlapping ng um, arousal at ng anxiety. One who is highly aroused may exhibit symptoms of anxiety, no? So diyan papasok yung biglang kagabog ang iyong dibdib, kakabahan ka, bigla kang there is what there are butterflies in your stomach na sinasabi natin, no? Kapag anxious ka at medyo hindi mo alam i-manage yung anxiety mo, no? Ang tendency ay imbes na maipasa mo yung bola sa teammate mo, sa iba mo siya naipasa. No? Sa opposing team mo pala, sa member ng opposing team mo pala siya naipasa. So there is tension, there can be possibilities for negative self-talk, no? So hindi ba, I don't know if you do this, but when you do something and so um, you were not able to do what is expected. No? Halimbawa kapag nagdi-dribble ka, tapos isushoot mo siya, no? Hindi mo siya na-shoot. So, ang tendency ay imbes na i-motivate mo yung sarili mo kung minsan nagkakaroon ka ng negative self-talk. Ay, tanga. Sorry for the word, but that's it. No? So, tendencies are you do trash talk. You trash talk. There's trash talking. I don't know if you had observed some players doing that or you yourself might have experienced doing that. Okay? There is also difficulties of sleeping, natural, no? Kapag overly aroused ka, even if it's nighttime and it's time for you to sleep, no? Hindi ka makatulog dahil nga overly aroused ka, no? But don't you know that if one is anxious, no, that can also be a symptom or a sign of anxiety, no? You could hardly you could hardly sleep, you could hardly concentrate, there is fear, there is anger. Okay, so these are cognitive signs or psychological signs of arousal. Now, we also look into the theories of arousal, no? So there are 5 theories that are included in this topic. So first, we have the drive theory. No? So what does the drive theory tell about arousal? So Hall made mention that there is a linear relationship between arousal and performance. And that means that when arousal is high, performance is also high. No? There is a direct relationship. No? As arousal increases, so does performance. Okay, so it's very clear on the illustration or on the figure that if arousal is low, performance is also low. But as there is an elevating level of arousal, there is also an increasing performance. Okay? So, while this may be true, kasi nga, di ba, how aroused, the level of your arousal or how aroused are you spells how good your performance may be, no? But no, there are literatures or researches which would say that it does not always follow. It does not always mean that when you are highly aroused that you have a good performance, no? Because siguro your experience would even say, oo nga no, kahit na highly aroused ako, halimbawa kapag exam, gising na gising ako, pero bakit kaya hindi naman maganda yung resulta ng exam? Okay? So, evidence suggests that this theory is only relevant up to a point, meaning to say there is only a certain level of arousal that would bring about a good performance, no? Because as far as performance in sports is concerned, 'di ba? Ang body natin hindi natin masasabi na um increasing at increasing ang arousal. Kasi meron lang point na kung saan highly energetic, highly aroused ang body. So ibig sabihin merong ceiling, no? In terms of strength, yung stamina, strength na sinasabi natin, meron lang siyang point na kung saan ay um, ma-exert natin yung certain level of arousal or strength or energy na kaya natin ibigay, na kayang ibigay ng body natin, no? So, an athlete can be over-aroused, no? Kasi kapag dumating tayo doon sa level na beyond what we can give in terms of arousal, in terms of energy, no? The athlete can be considered as over-aroused, and the consequence of this to performance is what? It's limiting, it's disaster, no? So, ang drive theory ay as our drive increase, as our arousal increases, the performance also increases, no? But again, this is refuted or rejected by other theories because other literatures would say na, meron lang level ng arousal na healthy for our performance. And here we bring the inverted U theory of Yerkes and Dodson. So sa kanila, there is an optimal level of arousal. Yun yung sinasabi natin kanina. Meron lang ideal level of arousal na contributory sa good performance. According to Yerkes and Dodson, ang tawag niya doon ay optimal level of arousal. No? Kasi ang katawan, hindi ba kahit na anong effort, gaano kalakas ang katawan, meron lang talagang certain level na ideal for a particular activity, no? Katulad din ng within the day, meron lang particular time na highly aroused tayo. Hindi lahat sa oras ay tayo ay merong strength, may stamina, merong energy to respond or to deal with things or activities, no? Because there would always be an optimal level, no? And performance at this level are at their highest, no? So at the optimum, sabi nga nila, no? Beyond this, there would be what? A corresponding consequence to performance. So, once na-reach na natin yung optimum, beyond that, hindi na siya healthy sa performance. Or lower than that, hindi siya maganda sa performance. So, ang sinasabi ng inverted U theory ay at the peak of the U. No? Meaning to say, doon sa inverted U, yung pinaka-peak nun, yun yung optimal level of arousal. No? If the person is not aroused, I mean low arousal level, or over-aroused beyond the peak of the inverted U, then it will not in any way aid to performance. Okay? So, a very low or a very high level of arousal is not good to performance. That's according to the inverted U theory. Then we also have the catastrophe theory by Hardy. No? So this theory differs from the inverted U hypothesis by linking arousal and anxiety. No? I mean, there may be some similarities as to what they are proposing, but the catastrophe theory kasi is integrating the concept of anxiety. Bakit kaya kapag overly aroused ang tao ay hindi maganda sa performance? According to the catastrophe theory, yan ay dahil sa anxiety. So it links the concept of cognitive state anxiety, no? So meron kasi tayong tinatawag na state anxiety, meron tayong tinatawag na somatic anxiety, no? So ah dito sa catastrophe theory, what it proposes is that if the athlete is experiencing high levels of cognitive state anxiety, as arousal rises towards the athlete's threshold, the athlete experiences a dramatic drop in performance. No? So, as soon as the level of arousal reaches the optimum level of arousal, na katulad ng nabanggit kanina doon sa inverted U hypothesis, no? Um, uh, the situation may no longer be healthy, no? If the athlete goes beyond that level, no? Because of what? Because of cognitive state anxiety, no? So the situation may be highly demanding on the part of the athlete that it triggers anxiety on the part of the athlete, no? So uh, the situational response, no, is characterized already by feelings of apprehension, no, because of the perceived threat. I mean, kapag halimbawa kapag gigil ka sa volleyball, bakit? Kasi too close na yung score, no? 1 point na lang ang hinahabol nyo, no? Kung minsan dahil sa masyadong gigil, highly aroused tayo, no? Napoprovoke tayo, I mean, natitrigger tayo, nagiging anxious tayo, hindi natin, hindi tayo nagiging unaware, I mean, unaware tayo na yung ating response na ay manifesting of anxiety. No? So this theory rely on the need for both arousal and cognitive anxiety to achieve optimal performance. So therefore, there must be a clear understanding on the part of the athlete that um, while it may be advantageous to be aroused, it must be only at the optimal level, no? Because other than that or otherwise, no, um, being too aroused trigger anxiety, no? And this situation will not in any way be healthy, no? Because as the catastrophe theory says, it will lead to a catastrophic performance or a disastrous performance. Okay? Then we also have the Izov theory by Hanin. Okay? The relationship of stress, anxiety, and arousal all impact upon motivation. Definitely, because one who is highly aroused, one who is highly anxious, and one who is highly stressed, no, uh, may have differing may always impact the motivation of the individual to respond unto the situation, like say for instance if he or she is in a competition, no, so kapag highly aroused ka, no, sabi nga nung mga naunang theory, no, pwedeng meron siyang impact sa motivation mo. Bakit? Kaya ka nga highly aroused kasi ang connotation ay highly motivated ka. Gigil ka kasi gusto mong manalo. No? Yun yung motivation mo, no? Ngayon, yung gigil na yon ay pwedeng cause ng stress at pwedeng magkukos ng anxiety. Okay? Now, according to the IZOF, there are variables that you are to consider, and these are variables that would point out to the characteristic of the person himself or herself and of the situation, no? The task, for example, no? And the stage of motor learning that is involved. No? So, what about the Izov theory? Okay, so sabi dyan, what are to be considered are the following: the personality, the task, and the stage of motor learning, because these are variables that actually impact arousal. Okay? So, the Izov theory, no, suggests that the athlete, the individual athlete, have unique, uh, of course, personality, kasi syempre magkakaiba tayo niyan. One thing that makes us distinct from one another is our personality, no? We have different characteristics, no? So athletes have unique or individual optimal levels of arousal, no? Why? Because of their personality, no? Kapag extrovert ka, syempre kapag nasa isang sitwasyon ka na maraming tao, highly motivated ka dahil yung katangian mo nga ay extrovert. Pero kapag introvert ka at nasa isang crowd ka, pwedeng challenging yun na sitwasyon sa'yo. So, yung personality characteristic mo pa lang ay isang rason na ng level ng arousal mo, no? So, ganun din sa task. Kapag na-accustom ka sa mga task na highly complicated, no, meaning to say, kayang-kaya mong i-handle kahit mga complex task, no, dahil nasanay kang ganun, no, ang tendency ay highly motivated ka kahit complex yung task. And hence, meron siyang impact din sa iyong performance, no? So, ganun din sa stage of learning, no? So, if you are in the autonomous stage, no, you perform better in high arousal levels, no? So, irrespective of siguro yeah, it always would boil down into um how confident are you in the task because of your motor learning stage, no? So, ah ayan nga, ang titingnan mo dito ay kung nasa autonomous stage ka ba o nasa cognitive and associative stages ka. Okay? So, sabi dito, a practical example of this IZOF is a soccer player who performs best when feeling calm and focused, while another player might need to feel a bit pumped up to reach their optimal state. So, depende sa level ng motivation mo, which always consider variables like your personality, the task that is at stake, and the stage of motor learning. Okay? So, unlike the inverted U hypothesis, the zone of optimal functioning states that individuals perform optimally at different levels. So ito yung nabanggit ko kanina, depending on the above factors. Therefore, not all athletes' optimal performance is at the top of the inverted U. So it always would boil down onto what personality you have and to the other variables like task and motor learning stage. Okay? So, um, that's the ZOF or the IZOF. We look also into yan. So, ang concept ng ZOF ay that the athlete must be in the zone. Anong ibig sabihin ng pagiging in the zone? When you feel in control of the situation, no, when you feel like in terms of task, kayang-kaya mo siya, kaya mani-mani, minamani mo lang yung task, no? Effortless. At in terms of motivation, no, you find enjoyment and satisfaction on the activity, and therefore the effect is that you accord your full attention and concentration on the activity or task. Okay? We also have the reversal theory. No? It looks into the relationship between motivations and emotions. So the reversal theory adopts the view that an athlete exhibits complex, changeable, and inconsistent behavior that can and does alternate between psychological states from moment to moment, depending upon the meaning and motives felt by that act. So there are meta-motivational states, no, that are contrasting, no, to each other. So tingnan natin siguro yung next slide kasi nandun yung mga examples ng meta-motivational states, no? So example dito daw ay during a competition, an athlete might perceive the arousal produced by cheering spectators as positive 1 minute and then reverse the interpretation to negative the next, no? Resulting in a change of meta-motivational state that affects performance, no? So depending on the meta-motivational state of the athlete, emotions ang ibig sabihin. On the emotions and the motivations of the athlete, no? So kapag halimbawa last 1 minute, di ba? Last 1 minute tapos meron pang ticking of the clock, makikita mo na merong counting ng seconds, no? 60, 59, no? So that is a stimulus which may in one way or the other trigger the emotion and then consequently the motivation of the athlete, no? So kapag merong cheering ang audience, kapag meron kang luxury of time at namamayagpag ang score nyo kumpara doon sa kalaban, ang tendency ay relax ka, meron calm ka, no? Walang pressure, walang stress sa'yo in playing. Pero kapag meron kayong hinahabol na score, halimbawa 1 point ang edge nung kalaban sa inyo at gusto nyo syempre na manalo, no? Yung counting or ticking of the clock na kapag last 1 minute pa, no? Ay definitely triggering yon at meron siyang consequence, no, sa arousal or kahit sa anxiety or stress level ng tao. Okay? So, ito yon yung meta-motivational state na binabanggit ko. So, these are contrasting, mapapansin ninyo na magkasalungat, no? Halimbawa, itong telic and paratelic, no? One who is goal-oriented versus one who is sensation-oriented. So, kapag goal-oriented ka, natural, if you are in a competition, your goal definitely is to win, no? And hence, you always would look into effort and to what is it that you can do to win, no? So of course, that has to do with serious planning of your tactics siguro. Pero kapag paratelic ka, no, I mean, sabi dyan, sensation-oriented, no? Siguro you play not for the sake of winning, but you play for the sake of what? You find each of the competition as siguro as an avenue for you to enjoy, no? So, ang tendency ay kahit na last 1 minute yan or last 1 point ang hahabulin mo, ang tendency ay you still would play siguro not stressing yourself, no? And hence, kung anxiety or arousal yan, yung tamang level lang ng arousal, no? Na kung saan, yung tamang chill lang, parang gano'n, no? Na hindi triggering sa'yo yung makita mong last 1 minute na at may hinahabol kang 1 point. Okay? So negativity versus conformity, no, makikita natin pag tayo naglalaro, kapag tayo nakikipag-compete, no? Meron yung mga talagang sadyang they break rules, no? I don't know if it has to do with their characteristics, no, personality characteristics, no? Pero meron din yung mga those who comply with rules, no? So mapapansin natin na itong mga meta-motivational states, sabi nga dyan, they represent the way the individuals interpret their own arousal and motivation. To the extent that the states a person is in will determine the nature of his or her emotional experience and subsequent motivational orientation. And eventually, the the emotional state and the motivational state we have would what? Consequently have implications to your performance. Okay? So still according to the reversal theory, how arousal affects performance depends on an individual's interpretation of his or her arousal level. So that if the arousal is interpreted as pleasant, no, then it aids to a good performance. Otherwise, it will lead to a not so good performance. Okay, sabi dyan, arousal interpreted as pleasant facilitates performance, while unpleasant hurts performance. Okay? So, what are the effects of arousal on sporting performance? Irrespective of what theory or orientation we are coming from, if the performer perceives arousal levels to be positive, no, it will always have a positive impact on performance. So, if you are at the optimal level, or if you are in the zone, no, um, or if you are in a more positive meta-motivational state, no, again, it will lead to a good or healthy or positive performance. Otherwise, negative performance. Okay? There is the concept of choking. No? Choking occurs in high pressure situations, and this heightened state cause extreme nervous and performance catastrophe. Katulad din ng kapag sa traffic, di ba, meron tinatawag na choking point. No? May mga parte sa tugigaraw na choking point pag traffic. Ibig sabihin, doon na na ano bang tawag mo dun? Parang meeting point ng mga drivers. Kapag nasa choking point ka, nakikipag-git-gitan ka, no? At naglilid yan sa road rage, no? Outrage, yung sinasabi nila, di ba? Yung nangyari sa San ba, Cavite ba yon? Yung mga shooting incident because of outrage, no, mga nangyayari sa daan, sa mga choking point, no? So, ganun din sa sport, no, kapag you are into a higher pressure situation, no, parang yung nangyari sa volleyball, ano natin, volleyball men, no, sa Cavraso, no? Sila lang ba yung natalo? Pati ata women natalo din, no? So, high pressure. Bakit? Kasi hindi kompleto yung team, no? Yung si Bulan, he was forced to play as the libero, di ba? Hindi yun yung kanyang usual role na ginagampanan. Pero dahil parang may mga hindi ata na-allow kasi na maglaro, no? Tapos merong na-allow na maglaro pero namatayan. Parang yun yung narinig kong reason, no? And hence the players were into a high, were forced to what? Play, in a situation na talagang pressured sila kasi nga given the situation that they have, no? So this heightened state, no, would cause extreme nervousness and hence a catastrophic performance. Okay? So in short, kapag masyadong highly aroused, hindi maganda ang dulot nito sa performance. Meron lang tamang level ng arousal para maging in the zone, ika nga. At ito ang healthy sa performance. Okay, next, we have stress and stress process. No? So, hindi ito bago sa inyo, no? Kasi katulad ng nabanggit ko, ang stress ay parang normal occurrence na, hindi lang parang, talagang normal occurrence ng life natin ang stress, no? Sa academic life nyo as students, no? I'm sure you might at some points of your lives, no, you have experienced stress kapag nagsabay-sabay ang mga courses, mga teachers ninyo ng task, no, tapos sabay-sabay pa ang deadline, o natural, ma-stress kayo, overwhelming siya, hindi nyo alam kung ano yung pa-prioritize nyo, no? Kung minsan merong mga nasa-sacrifice, no, like some of the other equally important activities that we have no? And well, it always would cost um your values, no? I mean, it's about you determining which one to prioritize or which one should come first over the other, no? So there is a stress if there is a substantial imbalance between physical and psychological demands placed on an individual and his or her response capability under conditions where failure to meet demands has important consequences, no? So if there are tasks that you are bound to submit and non-submission thereof would cost your grades, no? And there would be some sort of demand on your part, no? This situation is considered a stressful situation. Okay? Now, stress take two forms, no? We have eustress and distress. Eustress is one that is positive, no? It's not always stress is not always negative, no? There also is what we call eustress, which gives a feeling of fulfillment and arousal. So, meron tamang stimulation na hindi naman overwhelming malamang, no? Pero may demand, no? Na kung saan yung tamang ah, amount ng demand na to could lead to what? A certain level of arousal, no? And hence there is focus, there is attention, no? There is also a reflection on the skill or the ability that we have, no? May mga taong sensation seeking, no? Balikan ninyo yung paralytic metamotivational state, no? Gustong-gusto natin as much as possible na meron tayong worth, no? I mean, kaya naghahanap tayo ng mga stress, gano'n ba 'yun? Naghahanap tayo ng tamang level lang ng stress, 'no? Natural, 'no? Kasi siyempre kapag hindi naman tayo aroused, para bang wala naman tayong kuwenta at wala tayong, ah, parang sedentary na lang lagi ang ating life 'pag gano'n, 'no? So, there are individuals, athletes especially, who actively seek and need stressful situations, no? So this is being perceived as eustress, no? Distress yung counterpart niya, yung kapag nagko-cause na siya ng anxiety, hindi na nagiging maganda, di ka na nakakatulog, ah, at may feeling of nervousness and you feel worried na, nagiging apprehensive ka na, yun na ay distressful situation. Okay? Now, the stress process starts from a stimulation or a demand from the environment. Okay? So there is either a physical or a psychological demand. No? And this stimulation would be perceived by the individual. Okay? So how does the individual perceive the demand? No? Is the demand the amount of the psychological or the physical demand okay? No? Is it okay that it only um, it causes the person a eustress instead of a distress, no? Um, if the demand is overwhelming that it poses threat to the individual, then perhaps the response is that there are anxiety, there are signs and symptoms of anxiety. Ano ba yung mga signs and symptoms of anxiety, no? You have nausea, you have inattention, difficulty to focus, no? Difficulty to sleep, no? Titingnan natin later on pagdating natin doon sa part ng anxiety, no? But nevertheless, the stress response are either physical and or psychological, no? So again, arousal, state anxiety, no? So ang state anxiety ay it looks unto the particular situation. Okay? So there's what we call cognitive state anxiety and somatic state anxiety. Ano ba yung cognitive state anxiety? Nabanggit na natin kanina nung dinidiscuss natin yung catastrophe model, no? So, when we say cognitive state anxiety, no, meron siyang yung sitwasyon, meron siyang impact sa ating psychological or sa ating cognitive state. So, I mean, uh, ano ba ang nakikita mong uh, ano ba ang nakikita mong impact niya sa iyo? Ano ba ang mga naisip mo na nagkakaroon ka na ba ng fear, no? Ah, nagkakaroon ka ba ng inattention, no? Nagwo-worry ka na ba? May mga negative thoughts na ba, no? Because of the situation, no? Um, you have potential concerns as to the outcome of the situation. Nagkakaroon ka ng nagiging pessimistic ka na ba? Nagiging pessimistic ka na at nag-overthink ka na. No? So those are cognitive state anxiety. Pag sinabi naman nating somatic state anxiety, observe mo lang kung anong nangyayari sa katawan mo, no? Pag somatic kasi is body, 'di ba? Soma is body, no? So ano ang mga physical symptoms? Parang ganun 'yon. Kapag cognitive state anxiety, ano ang mga cognitive symptoms ng isang stress na tao? No? So yan yung kapag stress ka, hindi ka nakakatulog. Kung minsan hindi ka pa nakakakain ng maayos. Tapos somatic, ano yung nakikita mo? Biglang nag-erupt lahat ng mga pimples mo, biglang nag-mens ka na hindi ka naman dapat mag-mens pa, biglang kinakabahan ka, oh, laging masakit ang tiyan mo. So may mga somatic symptoms, no? So that's somatic state anxiety. Okay? Attention changes, yan cognitive yung mga yan. Muscle tension, somatic signs yung mga yan. And then eventually, the last stage would be behavioral consequences. No? Ano ngayon ang response ng tao in terms of performance? No? Does it did it motivate the person to do the task efficiently or accurately? Otherwise, no, what could be the outcome or what could be the impact to the performance? Okay? So, what are the sources of stress? Natural, dalawa lang 'yan. Within and outside, internal and external. So, pwedeng ang stress ay galing sa iyo, no? Na-anxious ka. Bakit ka na-anxious? Depende sa kung ano ang naiisip mo, no? So, depende sa pag-perceive mo dun sa sitwasyon. Halimbawa, you are in the middle of a volleyball match, no? Tapos merong, siyempre, ah, lalong-lalo na kung hindi ka naman masyadong cautious or conscious sa scoring. No? Tapos, pero siyempre natural, dapat lang na maging conscious ka sa scoring kasi habang nagpe-perform naman kayo, nakikita, napapansin naman ninyo yung, ano, di ba, yung kung sino ang ahead sa score, kung sino ang kailangan maghabol sa score, no? So, ah, ano ba usually yung cause ng anxiety pag sa performance? No, kapag siguro yun kapag last one point na kailangan mong habulin, no? So, um, depende kasi sa pag-perceive mo. Kapag last one point, may gigil, no, sa part ng dehadong team, no? Doon sa umaabanting team naman, meron ding gigil, ah, lalong-lalo na kapag ang gusto nila ay manalo talaga, no? So, personal sources would be as to how you perceive the situation. Uh, does the situation provoke anxiety? No? What would be its impact to your self-esteem? No? Ah, meron ba kayong mga negative thoughts? Ah, 3 points pa ang kailangan naming habulin. Tapos ang time na lang na naiiwan ay last 1 minute. Hindi na namin kayang habulin. Ganun ba yung line of thinking nyo? Or marami pang pwedeng mangyari doon sa 1 minuto? No? So, depende po sa kung paano ninyo pinaperceive yung situation. But definitely, ang personal sources ay nanggagaling mismo doon sa tao. Okay? Situational sources, again, the situation itself, and the environmental context, no? So when you are confronted in a situation where it's very important to you, that can be a source of stress, o lalong-lalo na kapag meron kang gustong improve, meron kang goal, no, na gustong i-achieve, no? And how uncertain are you in achieving this goal, no, can be some sort of stressful din. Okay? Then lastly, we have anxiety. No? So anxiety is a negative emotional state that is either characterized by or associated with feelings of nervousness, apprehension, or worry. Okay? So anxiety is either trait anxiety that is within the person, personality, no? Personality characteristic. May mga tao bang ganyan? Likas na anxious, meron, no? Depende kasi yan sa iyong mga experiences, sa mga disposition mo sa buhay, sa mga conditioning mo sa buhay, no? And state anxiety, no? It always depend on the situation. So, trait anxiety technically is defined as an aspect of personality and part of an individual's pattern of behavior. People with a high level of trait anxiety are likely to become worried in a variety of situations, even non-threatening situations. So meaning to say, a particular situation, a volleyball match, for example, uh, can be perceived differently by people. Kung si Pedro na meron siyang trait anxiety, ibig sabihin, personality-wise, madali lang talaga siyang ma-anxious. No? Kapag nasa sitwasyon siya na kung saan triggering yung sitwasyon, pwedeng magkaroon siya, makapag-manifest siya ng mga symptoms ng anxiety. Bakit? Dahil likas nga meron siyang trait anxiety. No? Pero kay Juan, na siguro highly resilient, medyo calm siyang tao, medyo wala siyang masyado sigurong negativity sa kanyang pagkatao, I mean sa kanyang mga karanasan, no? And hence, wala siyang trait anxiety, maaaring yung sitwasyon para sa kanya ay hindi provoking, no? Kapag state anxiety naman, yung sitwasyon mismo ang nagkukos ng anxiety. So, for example, at the start of a show, jumping event, no, the rider may have higher levels of state anxiety, but towards the end of the event, no, maaaring nagsasubside yung anxiety. So, situation anxiety yun. Okay? So, kahit yung audience effect, yung situation, kapag merong tawag dyan, merong mga boos ang audience or nays ang audience, no? This may provoke anxiety, and it's considered a state anxiety, no? So state anxiety, ito yung dinidiscuss ko kanina, is either cognitive or somatic, no? So for cognitive, it depends upon it's how we perceive the situation and react to the situation cognitively, no? So yung mga signs katulad ng sinabi ko, like worry, fear, apprehension, cognitive yon. Kapag somatic, kung ano yung nangyayari sa katawan, physiological changes that take place in the body when you are anxious. Okay? Now, what are some of the symptoms of anxiety, no? Kapag cognitive anxiety, no, there are concentration problems, no? So ang isang estudyante na anxious ay pwedeng hindi makapag-focus, hindi makapag-concentrate, no? And eventually meron siyang effect sa performance. Ganon din sa laro, hindi ka makapag-focus, hindi ka makapag-concentrate, ah, hindi rin maganda ang laro mo. No, there is fear and there is bad decision making. Bakit? Kasi nga you are preoccupied with your feelings of fear and worry. No? Um, this may also lead to bad decisions. So, pinasa mo yung bola dahil apprehensive ka, no? Imbes na ipasa mo yung bola doon sa akala mo doon sa teammate mo, yun pala ay sa kalaban mo. Somatic, katulad na nabanggit ko, kung ano nangyayari sa katawan. Okay? So, what are some of the negative effects of anxiety? Anxiety is seen as negative mental state. That is the negative aspect of stress. No? So, for example, in sports that need lots of concentration, no? Soccer or sa ano ba kasing tawag doon? Archery, no? Anxiety will decrease your performance, no? As your concentration is reduced and your attention to detail is impaired. No? So even in soccer, in futsal, no? Or kahit sa baseball o sa softball, no? Kapag anxious ka at kapag tinapon sa iyo yung bola, hindi mo siya uh, mababat. Bakit? Kasi nga, there would be corresponding effect to your coordination. There would be poor coordination and concentration. Okay? There are also positive effects, no? So, especially in terms of siguro motivation, no? There is an increased blood flow, breathing rate, and respiratory rate. Pero syempre kapag ikaw ay high blood, no, kaya nga siguro tinitingnan niyang mga yan kapag nasa sports ka. Kasi malaki ang chance na matrigger, no? At mag-collapse, no? So this may not really be very positive effects. These are physiological benefit, no, as they provide a rich supply of oxygenated blood down to the working muscles. But not too much that it would lead to stroke or to any other heart respiratory impairments. Okay? So constant worrying can make you think that you are not good enough to succeed and hence would decrease self-confidence. And hence, it also has impacts on self-esteem. No? So heightened cognitive anxiety means that there is an increase in nervousness, and hence, when you start being anxious, when you worry about losing, your focus would be impaired, and the likelihood that you would also have what? An impaired or a disastrous performance. Okay? So, pag sinabing arousal, meron lang tamang level ng arousal na makapag-lead to good performance or healthy performance. Ganon din sa stress and sa anxiety. Meron lang tamang level ng stress at ng anxiety na makapag-push sa'yo para ma-motivate ka para maging maganda ang laro o ang performance. Okay, so I think that's the end of the slide. So thank you for making it or listening it this far on this topic on anxiety, stress, and arousal. Thank you.